Hey everybody, welcome back to Economically Positive. So in between long videos, I've decided to do more frequent short videos that have a smattering of news updates covering economics, finance, and business news, which I'll call EconoFinaBusiNews. So before our news update, I want to give a quick personal update. Some of you have been asking, where have you been? Why so long since the last video? Well, my girlfriend moved in. So physically, I've been in our 3-bedroom apartment with our combined 7 children, and then we just had a baby 3 months ago, which you might hear in the background, bringing us to a grand total of 8 kids. Also known as 7 too many. Needless to say, emotionally, I've been anywhere but here. Just kidding. I just had to carve out a small, safe, happy place for myself within the apartment that I could go to recenter and re-energize myself whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed or things are too chaotic. Stay tuned for a future video covering the case for child labor. Inflation is still super high, north of 8%. And this just in, the men's underwear index is predicting we're headed into a recession. What is that, you ask? Well, a recession is when GDP goes down for 2 quarters in a row. Oh, you mean the men's underwear index? Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's an index that tracks men's underwear spending, with the idea being that men's Unterhosen purchases take a hit just before and during a recession, and then pick back up just before coming out of one. I know what you're thinking, and the similarity with me and my first 2 marriages is purely coincidental. Basically, before the last recession, men started saving money where the sun don't shine, and it's happening again now. GDP went down for the first full quarter of this year. GDP, for those of you who don't know what that means, gross domestic product. It's basically a measure of how much the economy produces each year. According to the definition of a recession, 1 more quarter of GDP going down, and our nethers end up in quite a pickle. Now try not to go nuts or get your knickers in a twist, because at the end of this video, I'm going to share a few tips on how to best cover your assets. What? I said assets. Unnecessary censorship. So that you can get through this recession with as little pain as possible if it does happen. So how did we get into another potential recession? Well, I know the first answer everyone wants to scream is COVID, because that's a great answer for everything, really. You know, why haven't I visited Aunt May in the nursing home? To why I can't change that diaper right now, because COVID. But seriously, boiled way down, it's true. Now, this recession would have happened a lot sooner had it not been for that stimulus that President Fat Joe Lil Biden dumped into the economy.
This is President Fat Joe and Lil Biden.
That effectively kept our spending up way higher, so we didn't feel the effects of a recession until later. But unfortunately, that caused inflation to spike. Now, back when the inflation started going up, that was the time for the Fed, also known as the Ministry of Magic, because money is magic, to use their divination powers and raise interest rates slowly to counteract the effect of inflation. Interest rates go up, borrowing is more expensive, which makes less money to go around. As you know from the professor's coconut lesson, less money with the same amount of stuff to spend it on means lower inflation, or sometimes deflation. So inflation is so high right now, unfortunately, that according to The Economist, the actual federal funds rate required to reverse inflation and get us back to that healthy range would be 5 to 6%, which is something we haven't seen since 2007. As they say here, that would be effective in taming rising prices, but by engineering a recession. So fingers crossed that there is no recession, but it looks pretty probable at this point. Elon Musk, saint or sinner? Elon Musk recently acquired Twitter for $44 billion, claiming that he wants to help encourage free speech on the platform in a way that's never been done on social media before. As part of that, he plans on making the recommendation algorithm public and transparent, even potentially allowing others to create public algorithms. This would allow Twitter users to choose for themselves how news stories are pushed and recommended. This could lead to more meaningful and moderate conversations and discussions, whereas social media currently tends to favor polarizing or extreme views and discussions, and pushes stories that tend to already confirm the reader's viewpoints.
Or sinner. Either that, or Elon Musk can now even more carefully manage the crypto narrative and make back his $44 billion investment by carefully timed buying and selling of crypto after manufacturing booms and busts. Elon, you naughty, naughty boy.
In another news story, Netflix went from almost $700 per share in November of last year down to just under $200 after announcing a decline in subscribers earlier this year and projecting an even further and more dramatic decline in subscribers through June of this year. That decline in January was the first decline in over a decade. Ouch! I wonder why so many people are leaving. I mean, as long as they put out another season of Wheel of Time. Oh wait, that's Amazon. I meant Reacher. No. Peacemaker. No. It may take a real Superman to reverse the downward trend, but lucky for Netflix, Henry Cavill has some experience in that regard. Oh wait, DC is on HBO. The Witcher, that was it. On to local news. Just how is the Utah real estate market doing? One of the hottest markets in the United States over the last year. In this local Utah story, Draper resident, who we will refer to for purposes of anonymity as Mr. JL, has almost finished building the home that he started last year, conveniently located between the North and South Valleys, with fantastic mountain views, above the inversion, and currently seeking renters that are willing to pay well above market. Mr. JL has seen construction costs rise between $60,000 and $70,000 in materials and labor over the course of construction. Just thinking about the ungodly mortgage payment gives me the cold sweats, says Mr. JL, while his 7 children terrorize and destroy the 3-bedroom apartment around him, and his 8th cries for a bottle. Okay, but seriously, what are some things you can do to combat the effects of a recession? First, focus on your earnings power. No matter how bad things get, if you provide value to others, they will be willing to pay you for that. Invest. Recessions have actually been historically some of the absolute best times to invest, and that's because eventually they end. If you're already in the market, don't pull out. I wish I had listened to the opposite of that advice way too many times. But seriously, don't try to time the market. Continuing to invest on a regular schedule and a regular amount will yield the safest return, as long as you're already diversified, i.e. don't YOLO everything on AMC or something. Last but not least, smash that like button because I desperately need your approval. So that's it for EconoFinaBusiNews. What did you think? Leave a comment below. Stay tuned. In the near future, I'll be releasing a video that shows a comparison between finance and accounting careers. Completely unbiased, of course. Sarcasm. Yes, and don't think I've forgotten about you, my dear students. I'll be sure to weigh in as well. Plus, look forward to some new merch designed by yours truly for all of you lovers of economics out there. Until next time, over and out.